quietest person in the room is often controlling it, not the loudest, not the most charismatic, not the one telling the best stories, the one who says the least. Watch closely in any meeting, any group discussion, any dinner table. The loud ones fight for attention, the confident ones compete for validation, but there's always one person, still, listening, speaking only when necessary, and when they do speak, everyone adjusts. But here's the part people ignore. Not all silence is power. Some silence is fear. Some silence is insecurity. Some silence is collapse. Today, we break down the difference between insecure silence and calculated silence, and why one leaks weakness, while the other quietly controls the room. This is the anatomy of intent. Humans are uncomfortable with silence. We fill it instantly, with jokes, with explanations, with nervous words. Why? Because silence creates psychological tension, and whoever tolerates tension the longest often controls the interaction. There's a principle in behavioral psychology. The person who reacts less usually holds more power. Silence forces others to reveal more, justify themselves, over-explain, seek approval. When someone doesn't rush to respond, they become the psychological anchor. Others begin orbiting around them. But here's the mistake people make. They assume all quiet people are powerful. They aren't. There are two very different types of silence. One collapses inward, the other expands outward. Let's dissect insecure silence first. This is the silence of fear. It looks like avoided eye contact, rigid posture, forced half smiles, short defensive answers. The insecure silent person isn't choosing silence, they're hiding in it. Their internal dialogue sounds like, "Don't say the wrong thing. Don't look stupid. Don't draw attention." This silence is reactive, it's self-protective, and paradoxically, it leaks. People subconsciously detect tension in microsignals: shallow breathing, fidgeting, rapid blinking, forced nodding. Even if they don't consciously analyze it, they feel the instability. Insecure silence shrinks energy. It asks for permission to exist. And here's the brutal truth. Rooms don't follow fear. They sense it, and they dominate it. Now let's examine calculated silence. This silence is intentional. It's chosen. It looks different. Relaxed posture, slow breathing, direct but minimal eye contact, unhurried movements. This person is not avoiding speaking. They're deciding when speaking is necessary. The difference is subtle but powerful. Insecure silence says, "I hope no one notices me." Calculated silence says, "I don't need to prove anything." That internal shift changes everything. When someone speaks less, but never rushes, never scrambles, never defends unnecessarily, others project meaning onto them. Humans interpret silence as depth. We assume they're thinking, they know something, they're evaluating. And projection creates power, because now people begin adjusting their behavior around the quiet person. They clarify more, they seek approval, they try to impress, without the silent person doing anything at all. That is dominance without force. There is a psychological mechanism at play here. Silence creates unresolved tension. and humans crave resolution. The one who refuses to break the silence forces the other person to move first. In negotiations, the person who speaks first after a price often loses leverage. In arguments, the person who rushes to defend cedes ground. In social groups, the one who reacts most reveals the most. Calculated silence delays reaction, and delayed reaction signals control. It says, "I am not emotionally hijacked," and emotional stability is perceived as strength. But silence can also manipulate. A person can weaponize it. Strategic withholding, long pauses, unpredictable responses. Used intentionally, silence can intimidate, create anxiety, force compliance, manufacture authority. This is often seen in high-status individuals who understand psychological tension. They speak slowly, pause mid-sentence, let the room sit in discomfort, and discomfort shifts attention. Attention becomes authority. Authority becomes influence. But here's the key distinction. True dominance through silence does not rely on intimidation. It relies on self-containment. One comes from insecurity masked as control. The other comes from internal stability. So how do you tell? Watch the body. Insecure silence, collapsed shoulders, defensive posture, nervous micro-movements, avoidant gaze, calculated silence, stillness, open posture, measured blinking, controlled breath, comfortable eye contact, and most importantly, what happens when they finally speak? Insecure silence often breaks with rushed, scattered speech. Calculated silence breaks with concise, grounded words. Few words, but weighted, and the room listens. Silence itself is neutral. It is the intent behind it that determines power. Is the person quiet because they fear judgment, or because they don't seek validation? Is their silence shrinking them, or expanding the space around them? The quietest person in the room may not be the weakest, but they are not automatically the strongest either. Power is not in the absence of words. It is in the control of them, and the person who controls when to speak and when not to often shapes the room without anyone realizing it. This is the silent dominance pattern, and once you see it, you'll never enter a room the same way again.